I am coming to you with the most exciting news. So, we have actually sold our house. We're under contract. I want to share with you this wild story of how this all came together. So, 11 years ago, I'm going to just rewind for a second. Bear with me because it's worth it. I have a whole video about this, but I'm going to give you the summary. We were in another house. I call it a Wonder Years house, all on like a quarter acre, street after street of these cute little one level homes. And it was adorable, but we just were outgrowing it. And we had set the intention to try to figure out where we could live. And we were going through our budget. We had just paid off all our debt. So we were just cash poor. We had no cash. And we could not figure out. We were upside down in the house. We were still recovering from '08 in the housing market. It wasn't quite, it was growing, but it was still not where it is today. And we ran all the numbers and we were trying to figure out how we can make this move possible, and we could not figure it out. And just so devastated, we're like, okay, I guess we'll just try again in a year. And that was that. And we went to bed, and the next morning I woke up and I just had this feeling where, like, we're supposed to move. I can feel it. We're like, this is almost like a test. Can we make this happen? And it wasn't like an ego thing. It was just a knowing. And so I went and I got some moving boxes and I started packing up our kitchen. I was like, what are things I can pack up in here that we will not miss so that we can get our house listed? And I started packing up. I had like 6, 7, 8, I don't know, boxes worth of stuff packed up. And then I posted that on social media, that image, and just said, holding the intention that we will find our dream home and that we can move. And yeah, just put it out in the universe. And a friend of mine, a lifelong friend since middle school, saw that picture and wrote back and said, my husband has a property that he bought that he was kind of flipping to, he's midway through his work, that normally he rents out houses, but this one's a little outside of the area. He just couldn't pass up on the deal. And I think it would be perfect for you. And then they sent us photos the next day, and we went and toured it that weekend. And it was in our price range. It was about a little more than what we were for sure that we could afford, but it was doable. And then he's walking us around and we're trying to like maintain, right? We're trying to not just give it all away that we're freaking out with excitement. And we're looking at each other and like, you guys, like, this is amazing. It's this, I'll show you pictures. It's this A-frame on a hill. It's tucked in the woods. It's just away from everything. At the time, we had like a 4-year-old and a 14-year-old, and I just pictured raising these kids out here in this calm gardening in the woods and things like that. It had this peacock coop on the property that was hilariously run down, but like we saw the potential. A pole barn that had horse stalls in it, and we saw the potential there. Great if we had horses. We don't have horses. So the horse fencing and the pole barn full of horse stalls, we saw these ideas. So we ended up, long story, we ended up buying this house from him. But what we did is, because we had no money, is he was so kind and he let us rent it from him for about 2 or 3 months. We rented it until we had the money for the down payment, until our house sold. Yeah, so that's how we got this house, this amazing way that it just happened. Like, we could not see any way we could have it happen, and somehow it worked out. Now, fast forward 11 years, and we've just had this sense that it's come full circle. We've loved raising our kids here. We've loved this home, but it's time for a new chapter. And we were selling my husband's Jeep, this awesome Jeep that's also just been so great. And a couple came out to look at the Jeep and fell in love with it. And then said, "We love your house. This is exactly what we're looking for." And my husband says, "Well, in a month it'll be for sale." And they were so excited. They're like, "Let us know when." And Bruce was kind of like, "Okay, that's fine," not really taking it too seriously. And then they had to come back the following weekend to finish. They gave us a deposit for it, and they were going to come back the following weekend and pick it up. So they come back the following weekend and just said, "Can we have a tour?" Like the day before, they texted and said, "Can you show us the house? Like, we're very interested." They have their house on the market, or it's about to go to market. So they're in the same process level that we are right now. And they're like, "This is exactly what we've been looking for." So Bruce is like, "I can give you a little bit of a tour. Like, we have a realtor, so I don't want to do too much, but I can just kind of show you." So he spends like an hour walking them through the yard and showing them the house and the outside. And he's so honest where he's like, "I fixed this and this is kind of working and this is great over here and you'll love this." And fast forward a few days, they end up making an offer on the house. We counter, they accept. And so now we're under contract for this house. We were 2 weeks away from listing it, or actually 3 weeks. 3 weeks away from listing it. And now, like, they paid a little extra so that it didn't have to go to market. They, like, a great family. And it's just saved us so much energy and so much work by not having to finish all of these things that they didn't care about. When you're getting ready to sell a house, you're getting ready. You don't know who the buyer is going to be. So I don't know if they're going to walk in and be like a cooking family and need to have the kitchen perfect, or are they going to care about the house at all, or some guy who just wants to know there's a workshop with a heated floor and some woods with trails in it, great place for animals. Is it somebody who wants to homestead and there's areas for gardening? Like, you don't know which area to focus on. And so they came in and just loved it all. And yeah, that's our magical story, you guys. So until it's officially signed as any house sale, I'm holding it like I'm holding the intention that it all will work. And I very much hold the intention like this is how it's going to work, or something better. If this falls through, it means that we were supposed to get even more or something like that. And I will just trust that process when that happens, if that happens. But I really don't think so. I think that it's going to work out great. I think their house is going to sell wonderfully and continue the magicalness of this property that we've been so lucky to live on, and get to now pass it along to this next family. So isn't that just such a fun story how things can work out? Sometimes you can't envision exactly how everything's going to be and how it's going to play out and who's going to find it, who's going to, all the things. And it has blown my mind how many times I have just watched in awe of how things work out even better than what we had thought. And we often say like, well, just our luck. But we say it in a really positive way because we have incredible luck. Like, we work our tails off all the time. We work really hard. We take good care of our stuff. We show up. I feel like we put good into the world all the time. And so it doesn't feel undeserving when good things happen back to us. I just never expect it. And so it's so fun when things work out in such a great way. And yeah, I guess the last thing I would add to this is one of the biggest things I found is mindset things the last few months. Since I had my moment in January where I ended up in the ER, my blood pressure was through the roof, like all the ice operations are happening in the Twin Cities here. Like, we're all at level 10. It was so stressful. And I'm starting back my final semester of school. Like, all of life stuff's happening. I had to do a shift and tune so much of that out. And I'm so grateful I did, because there were so many days that if I would have given my energy over to listening to the fear, if I would have sat and researched the housing market and what's falling, and is it a buyer's market, a seller's market, all of the things that just would have made me feel like, what's the point? Why am I bothering? I'm so glad I tuned all that out and just thought all it takes is one buyer We're just going to show this house love and present it as best we can and really trust that the right person will find this house. And I'm so grateful that that's exactly how we approached it, is tune out all the drama and just worry about what we're doing. How are we handling this? What can we do in our moment to control our destiny? And focus on that right now. Because we help where we can with some other stuff, don't get me wrong, but me draining all my energy every morning watching all of these Instagram reels or things that I wasn't able to control anyways would have just left me with no energy left to complete the things we needed to. So I'm feeling really grateful at this moment and hopeful that things are just going to continue falling into place. And I just wanted to share that because I think it's important to hear good news sometimes, especially in the midst of always feeling like a grind and always feeling like things are uphill sometimes in life. So that is our little magical story of how our house sold. So I'm so happy to share it with you. I'm going to continue sharing videos here. It's all about like this dreaming big and making this life pivot of moving abroad. But also I'm all about this realist plan of how do we actually get stuff done. I don't like just imagining these big dreams and then just doing nothing. It's about showing up and just breaking it down into little doable things to pull these big things off. So I'm going to share our moving sale process. I want to walk through and show you what I did do for staging the house and how I did some things affordably and creatively. So if you are looking at selling your house, I can give you some ideas from a non-professional stager that's actually just having to get it done on a budget. So subscribe so you can see those videos as they come out. But I thank you so much for being here, and I am so happy to share the story with you.